Jason Voorhees isn't the only monster in his family. While Jason's reign of terror at Camp Crystal Lake is infamous, his father's story has remained shrouded in mystery until now. What's up, horror fam? Steven A.K.A. Bojangles here, and come closer, my friends. I have something scary to show you. Today, we are going to uncover the untold story of Elias Voorhees. What dark secrets did he harbor? And what role did he play in Jason's transformation into a relentless killer? Come with me as we dive into the deep, murky waters of Camp Crystal Lake. Elias, Jason Voorhees' father and Pamela's husband, is an enigmatic figure in Friday the 13th lore. He's first mentioned in Jason Lives Friday the 13th Part 6, where director Tom McLoughlin storyboarded an alternate ending featuring him. In this ending, the cemetery caretaker, Martin,
a damn high school graduate. I deserve this job. I earned it.
Is still alive, tending to the graves of Jason and Pamela. A mysterious Elias Voorhees appears, startling Martin. The caretaker is visibly nervous as Elias exudes a terrifying presence. Without a word, Elias hands Martin money for maintaining the graves and then broods alone over Jason's grave. Am I the only one who'd be excited if Martin survived in Jason Lives? Just me? Okay. As we slowly zoom in on his face, Elias stares intently at the ground, as if using a sixth sense to know it's not his son's body in the grave, but someone else's. He then moves his head to look in the direction of Crystal Lake, as if he knows his son's body is at the bottom of the lake. The official novelization of Jason Lives includes this scene with Elias Voorhees, but it's out of print and hard to find, often fetching exorbitant prices. The next mention of Elias in the film's franchise is in Jason Goes to Hell during the American Case File newscast with Robert Campbell.
Born in 1946 to Elias and Pamela Voorhees, Jason was believed to have drowned in Camp Crystal Lake at the tender age of 11. Sadly, he did not.
This is the last time Elias Voorhees is mentioned in the film series. Boring. God, don't they know us horror fans need more? We want all the lore. Give us the lore. But what about Victor Miller, the writer of the original film? Did he have a backstory for Jason's father? Not really. Okay. He admitted that time constraints prevented developing Elias's background, but he believes the father simply abandoned the family due to his wife's unhealthy obsession with their son. And that's really all we get. The Friday the 13th game went with their own backstory on the Voorhees family. They stated that an unknown man had assaulted Pamela, impregnating her with Jason. Does that backstory remind you of any other horror icons? Just saying. She then married Elias, making him Jason's stepfather. She hoped she'd found a good man that could provide for her and her son, but he was also horribly abusive. Eventually, she murdered Elias, claiming it was in self-defense to protect her son. Next time on Why Women Murder. In the comic book Jason vs. Leatherface, numerous flashbacks depict Jason's childhood, showing Elias resentful of his disabled son. Elias physically and mentally abuses Jason until Pamela kills him with a machete to the head. If you thought this was bad, nothing prepares you for the comic book Pamela's Tale. This comic introduces significant lore about Elias Voorhees, his history, and his untimely death. Elias and Pamela married young, when Pamela was still a teen. They lived in a rundown trailer, which Elias could afford by working in the mines, the only job he could get as a high school dropout who wasn't considered to be very bright. I can't help but wonder what Elias would think of the current housing market. Money was tight, the couple couldn't afford much, and Elias's temper flared. He would regularly abuse Pamela both physically and mentally. After one particularly bad day at work, Elias returned home and beat Pamela, which was sadly normal behavior at this point, but something was different this time. Pamela was pregnant with their son, Jason. Elias had no clue she was with child as he battered her, but later that night, as Elias slept in their bed, Pamela took her revenge. She murdered him with an axe, loading his body into the bed of a truck, and lit their home on fire as she drove away, leaving her past behind her forever. This is starting to sound like a great country song. Burn down my house, my shitty trailer house. As she made her escape, Pamela came across the perfect place to dispose of her husband's remains: Crystal Lake. In this storyline, Elias never knew he had a son. Even crazier than this are the fan theories. They take things to a whole other level. One is that Elias paid the funeral home for Jason's dead body after the events of Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter, and that's why Jason wasn't cremated like the mayor said in Friday the 13th Part 5, the new beginning.
I can't believe this. Here, this is your Jason Voorhees here.
But you have to remember that with Part 5, Paramount wanted to take the franchise in a whole other direction, and that's why Part 4 was called The Final Chapter. That was actually supposed to be the end of Jason Voorhees, and then Part 5 was called The New Beginning, and that's why you get Imposter Jason. And then that didn't work out because the return they saw off of that movie wasn't very good, so then they figured they would bring Jason back, and that's why Jason Lives is the subtitle of Part 6, and it's a Swiss cheese fan theory, but nonetheless very good and compelling. Another theory suggests that Elias Voorhees was involved in the occult, granting him supernatural abilities. Some extend this theory further, claiming Elias possessed the Necronomicon Ex Mortis and summoned a demon that possessed his son, Jason. Nick 2, Verada, Clack 2, Redenbach. Dude, get out of here. In Jason Goes to Hell, when Steven explores the Voorhees home, he finds a copy of the Necronomicon and looks through its pages. The floorboards suddenly almost give way under him, causing him to back up. Was the Necronomicon manipulating the environment to make him retreat?
Yes. Yes, it was.
Anna! While the films offer limited information about Elias Voorhees,
Some folks have a strange idea entertainment.
expanded universe materials and fan theories paint a picture of a complex, dark character whose actions and personality profoundly impacted Jason. And when you can't get enough Jason, check out these videos. Nick 2, Verada, Clack... Nick 2, Verada, Redenbacher.